Merci bien, Monsieur Pétrine. And next, I would like to call on Mr. Han, Prime Minister of South Korea until about a month ago, for his views, please. Mr.
Good morning,
Han.
ladies and gentlemen. I don't think I am invited to give answers, but to embolden our thinking and stimulate our discussion on the architecture of global governance. I have also prepared a small note, so I will read it. As a consequence of expanding trade, synchronizing global capital, and the continuing technological revolution, the interdependence of nations, that is, the process of globalization, has become increasingly intensified. The process of globalization has been in progress quite a while, but became a defining feature of international relations toward the end of last century. At the end of the 20th century, for example, compared with 50 years ago, global trade volume had grown 50-fold. The nature of modern industry also imposes a far higher degree of economic cooperation among major market economies than was the case 80 or 90 years ago. The international division of labor has advanced light years since the old days. The movement of regional economic integration also expedited the globalization process. The lessons from the European integration have convinced other regions that benefits from integration, both economic and non-economic, are substantial. It is very important to note that globalization today has completely outpaced the development of appropriate political institutions and arrangements for governance of global political and economic systems. I would like to provide two examples of this and concentrate on them. It is an incontrovertible fact that the principal global challenge today are twofold: global financial crisis and climate change. These two are the best examples of externalities that all nations should join forces to deal with. How to wisely and effectively internalize negative externalities is the problem of governance that we have to resolve. For the detailed discussion of financial crisis and the climate change per se, of course, I plan to intervene in each session this afternoon, but today I would like to discuss the externality aspect of these two within the framework of global governance. Both require creative solutions, immediate remedy, and broad intervention. The challenges are mutually reinforcing and they share cataclysmic relationship. The cost of future is incalculable. The welfare of billions of lives is at stake, not to mention a direct impact on the future generations. There are security implications ranging from economic turmoil to natural disasters. These unprecedented crises have warranted unprecedented international responses and collaboration. Today, international community is working tirelessly to stabilize the international financial system while trying to mitigate carbon emissions. World leaders rolled up their sleeves, I think, to discuss practical solutions to these crises. First, trying to resuscitate and strengthen the international finance system within the framework of G20, which had 3 summit meetings already: November last year in Washington, D.C., April in London, and September in Pittsburgh. There will be 2 more G20 summit next year, June in Canada and November in Korea. From then on, 1 summit is planned each year from 2011, which France is to host. We have to remember that the concept of a forum for the world's major industrial economies emerged following the 1973 oil crisis and subsequent global recessions. When G7 was formed, it accounted for 69% of world GDP in 1975. It now accounts for 50% of world GDP and 14% of world population. In the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis and subsequent turmoil, the world leaders agreed to form the G20, which now accounts 85% of world total, world GDP, and 70% of world population.